Okay, thank you. Okay, so as Lee said, Matthew Monk, I'm from 12D UK, and my territory is Europe, Middle East and Africa. So, responsible for Europe, Middle East and Africa, EMEA, which is a shorthand version for it. Clients are mostly in the UK, the UAE and Qatar. We also do actually have 12D clients in areas such as the Netherlands, Serbia and also Iraq. Okay, so quite a varied range of clients there. Most of the recent work has been in the Middle East, simply because it was pretty much impervious to the whole financial crisis. UK and Europe is still recovering slowly from the economic recession. The worst definitely appears over. Okay, so just some mentions about upcoming work and opportunities in the region. Flood analysis and protection. It's always a big problem and a fairly important requirement in the UK. So we're going to work with the UK 2Flow resellers and package 12D as part of that solution. And the other big thing coming up is the government BIM strategy. In the Middle East, obviously we've got the Qatar World Cup. So there's lots of infrastructure work going on surrounding that. Doha Metro, so a rail system and an orbital highway, just some of the big ones there. Recently, just this year, Dubai was also awarded the World Expo for 2020. So that'll involve a whole new site for all the expo. Okay, and also new markets, and I'll talk more about some of the markets we're working in at the end. Okay, so most of this talk is going to be about a case study for a particular project we've been working on, and it's the Abu Dhabi Municipality Cut and Fill GIS project. Okay, quite a mouthful. So just a bit of background. Abu Dhabi Municipality. For those who don't know, the United Arab Emirates is actually 7 separate emirates. Abu Dhabi is the largest, richest and most powerful of those 7 emirates. Okay, Abu Dhabi itself, the emirate, has 3 municipalities. So Abu Dhabi, which is central region, Al Ain, which is out in the eastern region, and Al Ghabia, which is out in the western region. Okay, so we were working with Abu Dhabi Central Municipality. Okay, so the municipality manages earthworks for projects. Okay, any project done in the municipality, all off-site cut and fill, is managed and done through ADM. Okay, so if you need to import fill or get rid of excess spoil, then you go through ADM. Okay, so effectively this project is to modernise that process for the municipality. Okay, and it's quite a large project, and we're just one small part of it. And so it involves things like tracking volumes, how much cut and fill has been taken in and out, progress, costs, orders, and that whole process. 12D roles are pretty much 2. So the first one is fairly simple and something that 12D is very good at, calculating volumes. Okay. The second one is to actually survey the quarry site. So there's the 2 aspects to this particular project. Okay, so we had to integrate with a web interface. So this was done by others, but it was all done through a web interface. Okay, so we also integrated with their GIS system. So all the results, all the survey, pretty much everything stored in their GIS. Okay, so that's both downloading survey, calculating volumes, but then also uploading survey data from on-site. Calculation of volumes and 12D field for the survey of the quarry. So they're doing regular surveys to see how much earth has been taken out or disposed of. Okay, so just some of the challenges of this project. A lot of these users are not designers, they're not technical people, so we have to simplify it for these users. We also have to automate the processes as much as possible. Okay, and there's also the Middle Eastern culture. For those who haven't experienced it, There's the language barrier, and there's also the time is fluid concept. Things can vary between being urgent and not at all, and it's pretty hard to actually pin down a meeting at any time. Okay, so that's just one of the things you have to deal with for the Middle East. The scope is also vague. They tend to say, we want a volumes package, and that's it. So you actually spend a lot of the time meetings trying to draw out from them what they actually want. Okay, and they tend to change their minds as well, as most clients do. And getting paid is also sometimes difficult. Middle East, yeah. Those who have been there know it. Yeah, it's just one of those things you have to deal with. Okay, so the user interface, the 12D project is created automatically. And so what happens is the user clicks a button in a web interface. It then uses 12D, launches a 12D executable with a command line argument. So, and this then sets up the workspace, the views, they're all automatically set. There's some macros that run when it first starts up. So effectively it's minimal work and effort by users. Okay, click a button, you've got your 12D project in the correct location. Okay, and one thing that makes this probably fairly unique is that the projects, the 12D projects, are actually temporary. Okay, so they're just created, run volumes, and then they're pretty much deleted off the disk once the calculations have been done. Okay, all the data is uploaded back to the GIS. So for the user interface, we only need to show what was needed. Okay, 12D has a lot of toolbars, menus. That's not really relevant for a lot of these people or for this particular case. So toolbars for most options, all the functionality is still available there for those who want it, but most of it was just hiding it away, all those unnecessary parts. So we had two different workspaces, volumes, so that's pretty much all there was on display. So just those toolbars, and for the survey had some extra toolbars for their work. So once again, just simplifying this interface for them. Macros. So we rewrote some of the macros just to make it easier to automate them and upload to GIS. Okay, so again, simplifying the interface, hiding things that aren't relevant. XML output, because XML is great. XML allows you more flexible reporting, and it also means that it can be read automatically into the GIS. Okay. We also have the support so you can fill in default values in the panels. Again, just minimising the amount of work that users have to do. Okay, and these macros are available. You can use them if you want. I'll make them available if you come see me. Okay, so as an example of one of these macros, I wrote exact volumes tin to tin. Okay, so there's an example of the XML report. The overall cut, fill, balance, and the boundary area. So that's in a standard format. Okay, depth reporting was removed because it wasn't needed for this project. It's also a clearer display of results. Okay, so you can see there more words than just CFB at the bottom. Just to make it easier again, you know, English is not their first language, so making it a bit clearer for these guys. Okay. Exact volumes of grid. Okay, so again, this was taking existing functionality and just tailoring it a bit to this particular situation. So clearer display of results again at the bottom. Things like automatic calculations of the cell sizes. So you can automatically size those grid cells based on a value, 10 metres, a percentage of the total grid extents or a number. Okay, you've got more control over the labelling, so different textiles, decimal places, models, so you can control and separate these all into different parts and also create grid in different ways. Okay, and XML reports. Okay, one of the other macros, and this is probably one of the most important ones, was to auto GIS download. So we could not rely on the users selecting the correct GIS data. For those who've seen it, you pick a database and then features. and we couldn't rely on users to do that correctly. Okay, so we had to write this to download the data automatically. Okay, so we needed some extra macro calls, so Richard added those in, thankfully. The web interface generates an XML file which contains servers, credentials, which features you want to download, mapping files, and so on. The XML file is then read by a macro. Okay, the macro connects to the GIS and then downloads data. Okay, so effectively the only user interaction is they get a list of messages, look for any errors, and click OK. Okay, very easy for these users. So you can see there, it's just an example. It'll go through and download all these features and give you any errors. Okay, so making it very easy for these users. Okay, another aspect we had to customise was chains. Again, chains are fantastic. If you're not using them, I highly recommend them. They can be used to standardise and simplify processes. Okay, and that was one of the main concepts we did here. You can also hide any unnecessary steps or information. Again, only show the user what they need. Okay, and effectively you can create them so it's more interactive, and you can make these fairly wizard-like. You know, select a string, click next to go to the next step. Okay, so there's really a lot of power you can do in chains. So we use prompts, parameters, and decisions. All these are available in chains. Okay, it also removes the need to create a custom macro. Okay, easy to create without having to dig deep into the programming language. Okay, a lot quicker, more flexible to change as well. So as some examples of these chains, creating the existing and design surface, so that whole process was a chain, launched from a toolbar button. Okay, creating sections along a string. Okay, again, a standard process using standard naming that they didn't have to think about, just click some buttons and follow the prompts. Okay, just some of the other macros that were written as part of this. We had to provide different volume methods, so exact volumes, section volumes. Save project was one of the easiest macros ever written, pretty much 3, 4, 5 lines. And that's also, it just saves the project, but it means I can run it from a toolbar. Okay. Exit project, again, just closes it. But again, so it can be run from a toolbar. Along with this, some of the other things we did, training of the users, both Graham Worth and myself training the users over several months and trips. It's pretty hard to get them pinned down for a training date. Documentation, so all the stuff, PDF, videos, again, so that, you know, they can go back and see how the whole process works if they get stuck. Okay, deployment and testing, so making sure it all works within the entire project system. And also one of their requests was for miniature dongles, and thankfully, with lots of work from Alan, we were able to provide that for them, mostly for their field tablets, so they didn't like them sticking out. Okay. So just a summary of this project. Often frustrating environment. It is what it is. Yeah, you get used to it after a while, but yeah, can be quite shocking in the Middle East. Slow progress and changing scope. It took about 2 years to do this project. It was only about a month's work, but it was 2 years. Yeah, it's still not finished, but yeah, we'll get there. However, effectively, there is great scope for improving processes. A lot of the municipalities are looking at streamlining things, making things more efficient. So this has given us that opportunity and hopefully potential for further work within the municipality further down the track. Municipalities within the region are looking to modernise, and they're not exactly short on money, so it always helps. So 12D is very well placed to provide a solution. You know, we've seen it with, you know, for example, Bundaberg and their GIS system. You know, it's very well suited to this sort of government sector's GIS. So, you know, we've also been approaching Dubai, Ras Al Khaimah and Al Ain municipalities, just some of the other ones in the UAE. So just a few final words. If you want to find out more about the ADM project, know more about the EMEA region, become a 12D reseller. If you want to learn about customising 12D, ask questions about macros, chains or XML, or buy or give me a beer, you can come see me during the conference. I'll be around. Okay, thank you.